Calling myself here, yeah. Okay. I'd like to convene the May 2024 meeting of the Niskuna Complete Streets Committee. You're in the Schaefer Room at Town Hall. I'll quickly do all here. We have a hi Tess. A few folks that are still on the way. Tess Healy is here. How are you, Tess? Good. Carla Dougal is here. William Chapman is here. That's 3. Ben joining us on the Zoom. How are you, Ben?
I'm good, thanks. How are you, Bill?
Doing well, thank you. And is Catherine here? Okay. We have 1, 2, 3, we have 4. So anyway, we unless we get another member, we won't have enough to do we need 5 or
how many do we have?
6, 7.
No, I think 4 is okay to take action.
Okay. Well, that's good. Okay, privilege of the floor. Do we have anyone? Here's one of these too, Janice. Anyone who would like to address the Complete Streets Committee? Linda, you're here with us today. Do you have any thoughts from residents on Van Antwerp or the traffic circle on River Road that you want to pass along? We can't hear you, so you've got to turn your computer on or turn the audio on.
He's just muted. Yeah.
He's just muted, yeah.
Okay. How's this?
That's good.
So it seemed that we don't have a speeding issue, we don't have a police issue, and that if there are any improvements to be made in our area, it's going to be with your help if it's possible, to do so. So Roberta and I were interested in listening as to what your takeaways were from the meeting that we had. I read in the minutes from the last meeting that, that there's somewhere on the priority list is the consideration of a side path on Van Antwerp. I know last week or last meeting, you referenced the design of the 1-lane design of the circle provided by one of the Van Antwerp residents. And it occurred to me afterwards that if we shrunk the travel lanes on that circle, there'd be room for a safe bike path to and at some point maybe a crosswalk or something to get us over to the bike path safely. So mostly we were very interested in what your thoughts are. You were willing to put it on your priority list. How do we move on from here? What can we do to help?
Well, those are all good observations. The police chief did hand out some data on average speed on Van Antwerp and also some tickets and things. I think just hearing from the residents, both the letter you sent us and the meeting. Well, first of all, I do want to say that we did add to our goals for 2024 a side path on Van Antwerp Road. We have Rosendale Road bike path sidewalk construction is one step higher than you are, but all of 7th and 8th grade will be assigned to Iroquois Middle School starting in 2028. And we have had I guess an emphasis of trying to get safe routes to schools as one of our priorities as we're working on things. And Van Antwerp certainly qualifies as one of those roads. obviously Van Antwerp Middle School is, as you get down the road, you cross Balltown Road from the traffic circle in your neighborhood. And all fifth and sixth grade will be assigned, in my understanding, in 2028 to Van Antwerp Middle School. But at least for myself, a side path on Van Antwerp Road seemed to be something that residents on Crimson Oak Court and Van Antwerp were interested in. They, even just the segment from the traffic circle down to the side path on that street east is not a safe walk the way it is now, because there's a lot of speed of cars on Van Antwerp and volume of cars. And one of your concerns was people exiting the circle and driving quickly down Van Antwerp Road. So we have, I think, heard that a side path on Van Antwerp Road. Then how you get across River Road to get access to the bike path. I mean, one of the things that maybe we just discussed a little bit here was if you had the side path on Van Antwerp Road and you got to the traffic circle, so you went a little further west on River Road, and then you'd have maybe a push button crosswalk or a crosswalk so you could get across River Road. It wouldn't be at the traffic circle. The traffic circle, I think, has a high volume of cars, and it's probably not safe for pedestrians. It is, but if you walk up a side path on Van Antwerp and then down a little to the west, so that you could have a push button crosswalk or a crosswalk so people could get across river, and then you'd be right at the Mohawk Hudson bike path, so you could go.
Are you talking about utilizing the push button crosswalk that's?
Well, that would be something we could consider. We would ask the county about that. I would think. Okay, well, we may not get a push button crosswalk there, but we could maybe get a striped crosswalk there. And
Wait, I'm confused.
So I think you heard at the meeting that that the county legislature people are interested in hearing from you, but it's not a speeder enforcement issue. So I think, it really comes down to complete streets and funding infrastructure that'll help pedestrians cross safely River Road. So one of the things I would suggest would be the multi-use path connection from Knott Street East to Crimson Oak. Where it kind of goes along Van Antwerp across the road from the houses. That's an easy place to put the path in. And we also have an easement from a recent subdivision on Van Antwerp on the west side of the road there. But we may still need easements from the remaining homeowners to be able to put a multi-use path in. So maybe speaking with all the neighbors and getting everybody on board for where the multi-use path could go. And then while you have all your neighbors together and they're still very strong on the issue, I would start pushing the county for either funding through their budget, their regular budget, a multi-use path there, or asking for a grant application. There's another round of grant applications that the county is eligible for that they could possibly submit for a multi-use path there. So I would use your people power right now to try and just be campaigning the county for a multi-use path on Van Antwerp Road. Your particular section, I think, is from Knott Street East to Crimson Oak, but it's a relatively low hanging fruit to get a bike path there. It's not as complicated as in some places, or not just a bike path, a multi-use path. There's a small number of homes that would be affected with kind of a pretty large impact for safety. So, I mean, if you were to run a cost benefit analysis, I think it would rank pretty high. So I would use you guys as people power to really push the county to get a multi-use path there. While you're doing that, we've put it on our priority list, which we're hoping to adopt today at our next meeting, and we'll continue lobbying the county for it as well.
So understood, and I don't disagree. That's very valuable. But as it stands, if it goes from Crimson Oak Court to Knott Street East, the only access over to the bike path is going to Knott Street East, down Knott Street East, cutting through Orchard Park and coming out at Fox Hill, is it?
St. Joseph.
St. Joseph.
Right.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I heard you say that at the meeting. I was listening. I understand it's really kind of not feasible to put a crosswalk in the way the circle is designed. And it is a high volume of traffic, but people cross. I mean, there is a dedicated footpath now on GE's land following the side of the road because it is absolutely unsafe to walk on the shoulder of the road. And you know, there was absolutely no concern for that. So
Well, I
other
wouldn't
than,
be
well, we never
concerned.
see anybody do it.
Yeah, the multi-use path along Van Antwerp is the low-hanging fruit. I think you could do that within even, adopted budgets, possibly. Redesigning the circle so that it can safely accommodate multiple types of traffic is a multi-million-dollar project, and it's going to take some time. I think that the county legislators heard you. They have, like I said at the meeting, they have already submitted a grant for a possible redesign of that traffic circle. But you wouldn't be able to just change the lane widths or add a crosswalk there because it is going to require a full redesign in order to safely get people to cross. That's your second step. And it wasn't that nobody heard you, but you're talking multi-million dollars to get people safely across that research circle. And it's going to be a longer process. But I actually think that process has also started. So,
right. I actually did not hear you say that a grant has been, a grant request has been submitted for the redesign of the circle. We had heard reference to that, but really we had nothing concrete as to like who was doing it or what the status of that was. Who would we follow up about that?
Yeah. I believe it was submitted. I saw a picture of it. It's Schenectady County, and they submitted it under as far as I know, submitted it under the State Transportation Improvement Program grant applications, which I believe we should be hearing back on who's getting awarded that grant within the next few months. That is competing against the town of Niskayuna's grant to fix a heavily the fatal intersection at Bellevue Hospital, though. That's a competing grant to the town of Niskayuna's Route 7 grant. So
understood.
I mean, who knows how the funding picture will come out. I think they already see it as a problem, though, and are working on redesigns. If it doesn't get funded this round, I have a feeling that they'll keep working on it.
You said that it was requested by Schenectady County. Do you have any, I mean, Schenectady County is a lot of people and a lot of offices. Who would I follow up with?
I mean,
Or what
usually the
office?
engineering department that submits the grants.
I'm sorry?
The engineering department.
So that would be Paul Sheldon, who is the director of Public Works, and I think it's Rick Knutson, who's the director of engineering. Peter Knutson, yeah. It's Knutson. Peter is the director of engineering. I do have a couple of other thoughts, Linda. Right. I mean, one thought in part is getting over, to the Mohawk Hudson bike path. It's at least walking down Crimson Oak Court. I mean, there's a neighborhood pocket park that's off of Jade Lane on the other side. And so if you could get to Jade Lane, then you could go up Knowles and get to the crosswalk at St. Joseph's Drive, the push button crosswalk that gets you across river. Now, of course, that would require that one of the neighbors down at the end of Crimson Oak Court, house, would be okay with some pedestrians, probably mostly people on Van Antwerp or Crimson Oak Court, that would be able to kind of scoot between a couple houses down to that pocket park, which would then give them access to Jade Lane and then go up to Knowles View, where they would be a short walk or a short bike ride to get to the push button bike path at St. Joseph's Drive that goes across the river. And so you wouldn't have to make that big loop you're talking about all the way down to Knott Street and then Orchard Park and up. It would be a shorter way to get there on a bicycle, but a possibility. And it would-
A couple of points about that, Bill. That's, we have known about that, and luckily we've had a sequence of neighbors who allow people pretty generously to use that pathway. There is an extremely steep hill. At present, it's really difficult to get a bike up that hill, even if you're walking it. You're also going over two bridges that a private landowner maintains.
I see.
So
it's not a safe walkway at this point, huh? Or
well, it happens to be very well maintained now, but that wasn't always the case. And it's also pretty much right through their backyard.
yeah.
So it's, you know, it is what it is. They've been very kind about letting us using it, but it's very, very obvious that you're, you know, walking through somebody's backyard and waving hello when you pass them.
Well, I'd like to come and walk it sometime. Maybe you and I could do it just to see what the possibilities are or something. And
Happy to do that.
okay. Then the other thing, Jessica Krakowski lives on Van Antwerp, just on the other side of Knott Street. And we've had some discussions here about, well, how would walkers and bikers, people that lived on Van Antwerp, get to Van Antwerp Middle School? And, you know, we have, if you can have the side path that you get down Van Antwerp and you can get to Knott Street East, we've at least had some thinking about, there's an office building next to the post office, and there's a road that goes behind the hardware store and KinderCare and the TV station. And there may be a development behind CVS where the lots have been cleared. And so we'd be asking for, you know, an asphalt path, I mean, a bike path, I guess, if you will, that would go from Knott Street East, essentially over to Van Antwerp next to CVS. And that way bikers or pedestrians could use that without having to go out to Balltown Road, but they could then go on the side path down to Van Antwerp and Balltown Road, use the push button crosswalk there, and then, you know, walk or bike down to Van Antwerp Middle School from there. And so, in other words, we wouldn't have to have a side path, at least at this juncture, on Van Antwerp all the way from Knott Street East down to the CVS. We'd like that. Maybe we'll get there one day, but this would be another way that you go down the side path on Knott Street East that's already there, and then kind of a backside path that it's paved that would go behind these businesses and would get you essentially to the corner of Van Antwerp and Balltown, where you could take the sidewalk and go down to Van Antwerp Middle School. So
I guess I understand that that's an advantage for you seeking to improve the walkability and bikeability
Yes.
to school.
yes, in other
I
words,
didn't hear that expressed as a concern or priority from any of the people attending the meeting or in conversations.
Yep.
All
but
the
there are
work that
residents
we-
on the other side, on the south side of Knott Street East, that have children, and it's hard to walk back to the north to get up to the side path on Knott Street East. But if you really want to go to Van Antwerp Middle School, it'd be a way of doing it. So, you know, we're thinking out loud with our Complete Streets hats on, and not insensitive to concerns that neighbors have expressed. And as you said at the beginning, we do try to look at things and be helpful, be advocates for residents, you know, with the county. But obviously, you know, we don't sell pumpkin pies, but even if we did, it'd be a lot of pumpkin pies before we could get the River Road Circle redesigned. But there does seem to be, you know, some sympathy to the idea of a side path on Van Antwerp from, say, Crimson Oak Court down to Knott Street East, so you can get that far. And once you're there, I mean, you obviously have access to getting to the post office, to the high school.
Yes, we
that's done, and so that would be a big help.
And don't get me wrong, I also go that way frequently, and that's huge. That's a wonderful thing. Everything on your agenda is a wonderful thing. And I realize, you know, there are priorities, and there are, this will benefit a few people, this will benefit a ton of people, this will benefit people, you know, in a way that's maybe life-saving, such as when I read about the idea of the crosswalk between Craig and the JCC. If I'm not mistaken, we used to have a crosswalk there. I once tried to use it and not a single car stopped.
Yeah.
And that's a situation where as Aaron Lyons, who attended the meeting with the county, said, the risk is so severe. We're not talking about a fender bender. We're talking about a pedestrian dying because these cars are going around that circle 60 miles per hour. And I do understand. The reason I brought up the redesign of the circle was only because there are neighbors here who think that that's going to be the answer. And I was hoping maybe if it was just repainting lanes and using existing pavement, it was a possibility. I do understand the complexities with that. And to me, getting Crimson Oak Court somehow safely to St. Joseph's so that we can cross at an already existing crosswalk, it's got to be good enough. Everybody doesn't get a crosswalk at the end of their street. I totally understand. But there isn't a way there other than right now going on Van Antwerp down Knott Street East and through Orchard Park. So it is what it is. I do agree that the bike path would be huge and a big improvement. It just doesn't address a safety issue that I really think is one that people do need to be concerned about.
Well, part of our discussions too is that we have a lot of county roads, 18 county roads, 23 miles, and most of them don't have pedestrian or side path amenities. And so we're kind of starting down a road of cooperating with the county to say, look, how can the town work with the county on getting some sidewalks and side paths on those roads? Because they're main conduits through the town of Niskayuna, so it's not just one. I mean, we want to work with them so that we develop some procedures or some ideas on how we might get more sidewalks and side paths on our county roads. And this is an early one, and we want the discussions to be, sensitive to money and priorities, and and the fact that the county roads have kind of a narrow right of way, so there's not necessarily a legal path just to use 15 feet of the front yard of folks. I mean, the county doesn't have that right away, so it's an additional compounding factor. So, okay.
Thank you very much. I don't want to hijack all of your meeting time. You've been very generous in sharing your thoughts. I know Roberta, she might not be on yet, but she will be reviewing it. We'll be following up with neighbors, as you indicated or suggested, to give our feedback on the idea of the side path from Crimson Oak to Knott Street East. That would be huge.
And people power is what you've got the most. And I think you have some sensitive legislators in Michelle Osterlich and Tom Constantine that understand the issue and want to do something that's helpful. And so you just can't go away. You want to stay interested and present your thoughts to them, and you can use us too. So
wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay. Anyone else for privilege of the floor, do we think? Or okay. We have the minutes for April 22nd. I hope folks have had a chance to read those through. So I'd like to move approval of the minutes of April 22nd, 2024.
I second it.
A second from Tess Healy. All in favor of accepting those minutes? Okay, we've got 4 approvals. The draft comprehensive plan chapter on mobility and transportation. Carla's not here today, but excuse me, Catherine Kuzma is not here today, but Carla and Catherine and I have been working on it, and we did distribute an early draft to the committee, so we're wanting to hear from other members. And would you like to offer a note, Carla, on what we're doing to make progress on the transportation and mobility plan for?
I tried to make some changes. I did some changes to Catherine, and from just editing changes as well as writing up another section. I wasn't able to edit the document on my computer, but we talked about that. It's my lack of tech savvy, I guess.
If you got a copy of it, you can fix that and then maybe mark it in red or something. So when it gets voted up to Catherine, she'll know this is new input or whatever. So
Right.
you don't want to lose those ideas. You want to.
But yeah, I'll have to figure out how to do that.
So generally, Catherine's working on mobility, you're working on connectivity, and I'm doing a little on safety. And now we're working on trying to hook those sections together. And we still have, like the bike path, some safety features on that, and intersections we, want to work on, and a bit more on town roads and some other additional materials we want to do and then hook together. And I guess we're talking a little bit about, where we want recommendations. A little bit, we're have a section, say, on Troy Road, where we now have 10 deaths in the last 4 years and 5 months. And obviously the state is interested, and we have the corridor study, and we also have the additional 3.4 million, is that right, money for Broman and Algonquin, that section right there on Troy Road.
We don't have that. Yeah.
Don't have, yes, we've applied for that money. I'm sorry. Yeah. So, I guess at least my own thought was, if we are describing some safety concerns with the roadway and what some of the issues are, and then, we may have some recommendations for things to look at, or some things that we'd like to recommend that the town board, planning board, conservation advisory council, other planners in the town consider doing as we go down the road, that will make them safer and more accessible. I've seen that the date for the comp plan is kind of sliding over to 2025. So
Yeah.
we're still, working on our input. And
Yeah, so I had a question about that, actually. Do you guys think that you would be able to meet with the comprehensive plan committee on June 11th
yes,
at like 6 p.m.?
yes.
Because I think the draft is, it's still a draft, but you've got like pen to paper now.
Yes.
So I think like if you're feeling pretty good about it, even though you haven't finished it, you can meet with them on the 11th. You guys could present ideas and go back and forth, and then get them input to kind of like, because they're basically, their goal is to try and finish up the recreation chapter actually tomorrow. And then we have a quick back to back, so they wouldn't be able to start on anything again. So I thought it'd be a really good time for you to meet with them.
Sure.
If you think you can do it June 11th.
Yes.
Okay. So I'll schedule that. I'll schedule you guys in there. Do you want me to invite all complete streets, or just you and
Yeah,
Carla?
not everyone will probably be able to come, but we should invite everybody. It's kind of a smallish group. But
Well, I can possibly put it in the town board room too, if we got a lot of.
yeah, let's do that. That way there'll be, and we do have the screen, so if somebody wants to put some stuff up that everybody can see it.
Yeah, okay,
that'd be
so I'll
nice.
try and schedule that. I know that the chairman wanted me to ask you if that would work
Yes.
for today, so. Okay,
Yeah,
so
good.
you guys, whenever, like maybe June 11th is still a little, maybe like June 1st or 2nd. Send me what you have, and then I'll put that in the packet for the comp plan. And it's
Well, I
okay.
just got done with this yesterday. These streets.
If
jump
you
back
got
on.
too much.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good. We want to keep moving along, so that's good. Does that seem acceptable to you, Ben, June 11 with the comp plan folks?
You're muted. Ben.
You're muted, Ben.
Oh, there.
Let me just double check real quick. I'm sorry. June 11 would work for me. Yeah.
Okay.
That's exciting.
So we're continuing to work on it, and Carla and Catherine and I have had some meetings, sometimes over the phone, but sometimes together at the library, and trying to work on.
No, I know. I think
So-
you guys are doing a great job. We may end up having to move the recommendations to the end of the chapter, but I think that's very small potatoes. Like, let's just get what we have, to the comp plan, and then let's talk about it.
Complete Streets is dynamic. We'd like to switch the whole comp plan committee. Put those recommendations in right after you tell them why they're necessary, but we can talk about them. Okay, so we'll stop there for today on the comp plan chapter. On the linkage study for Troy Road, any news on that?
So, good piece of the information. The memorandum of understanding was sent to us, I think, about a week ago, and it's on the town board for acceptance on Tuesday. Not tomorrow, but the Tuesday after. What I found really interesting about it is that we submitted $154,000 grant where the federal government was covering $139,500, and we were committing to $14,500 of in-kind, which we've talked about before. That's a lot of in-kind from us. So we're gonna have to roll up our sleeves. But CRTC itself, the Capital Region Transportation Committee itself, has also budgeted an additional $30,000. So that raises our whole total to almost $180,000 of city money for that quarter. I don't actually know why. I saw that come through with a memorandum of understanding. I'm very thankful for it. I wonder if they looked at it and thought that it needed a little bit more money, so they kicked in their own money. So that's pretty cool.
Is there a set of tasks that are already specified for what we're gonna look at in the linkage study?
So there, and I should have printed out the email, but essentially what they're going to do is after we sign the memorandum of understanding, they're going to come up with a scope of work, which they'll share with us and we'll be able to comment on. But right now, the only draft scope of work we really have is, the points that we covered in the submit open grant. So they'll use that and then make a scope of work. And then I mentioned this to you guys before, they actually put it out to bid. They select the contractor, and then we'll work with the contractor once they've got that done.
I think that's not bad. I mean, you really want the state, since it's their road, to have ownership on this. And so it's not like we're trying to persuade them or push water back uphill. I mean, they are, I think, as interested as we are in having safety on the road. And they will ultimately decide what they approve for additional improvements on the road. And, if this is an important step to kind of identify what they think needs to be done, what the problems are, that's a good thing. And we should be grateful that they're focused on it. And if they're willing, even the Capital District Transportation Committee is willing to add more money, that's just other aspects that can be looked at. And so hopefully a better job in the end on what they do.
Yeah, I thought that was great that they added in that extra money. So I would expect by the next meeting, we'll probably have that draft scope of work, would be my guess. Because we're gonna be signing, we'll be signing it like a week from now, basically.
We get to shape a little bit the scope of work. As we have some ideas that we can submit for them to consider in the scope of work, right? I mean,
Well, yeah, I mean,
we
the scope
don't write it, but they're
The
gonna,
scope include every single treatment that we want to look at for Route 7. I think the scope of work it's probably going to be very similar to what was submitted for the grant, which is we want to study basically from the town line with the town of Colony all the way to St. David's. Yeah. Unfortunately, we did have to exclude the intersection of Route 7 and Balltown Road because they said that would be its own linkage study on it.
but if we wanted to, let's look at raised medians or let's
Yeah,
look at
no,
more
no,
crosswalks,
yeah.
they'd be open to all those things.
You can necessarily write that specifically into the scope of
Okay.
work because that's something they're gonna do with the study. Yeah.
Anyone else with a thought or a question on the linkage study or items in the linkage study? Grant? Well, some more money in, and that's really good. And the 3.4 mil, that application has gone forward, is that right? In other words, the application has been prepared and sent in, or?
Yeah, the application was submitted in January.
Okay, good. Is it possible to get a copy of that or to see what was in? I mean, could we share that grant with the? I don't know, could you?
The linkage study we had for sure.
Yeah, the linkage, but I'm not sure the 3.4 mil, but
It's 4.2.
4.2. See, I'm already,
When
Bill,
it
you're always
was-
trying to push us to spend more money, and now money's on the table and you're not aware. So I think, well, I think we should just get a copy of the grant so we know what we applied for and what we'd like to see done. And let's get that and get that out to membership. I think it's
So this is what,
Algonquin Road, Roman.
this is what I was telling Linda. I mean, I believe the county submitted for the research circle at the same time we submitted for Route 7. It's the same grant application.
Okay,
And I think that the announcement should be soon, like June or July. Yeah.
So the 4.2 million covers both projects or just one?
No, that's our submittal. Yeah, I don't even know what the county's estimates were to fix the research circle.
Okay.
I think that they submitted it under the same grant application that we did, that they showed it to us. It's possible that they could both be funded, but they
Yeah.
typically spread the funding throughout New York State.
It-
So if they're both $4 million projects, it's unlikely that they both get funded.
would Peter be able to tell us if we just gave him phone minutes of the of engineering?
If they submitted it or not.
Yeah,
Yeah, I would think so. It's always a tentative thing when something's been submitted. Like, I know the town made a big deal about our submittal, but I actually think that may have hurt our submittal. Because it's always very tentative when it's a grant application. And like nothing's been awarded, nothing has been reviewed. We don't know where we stand. We don't even know how many points we made.
Yeah.
So like, I know that like both the county and the town are should be very tentative when it's just a grant application. Because by no means.
well, it's never a guarantee you're gonna get the money, but sometimes if you've got a problem, which is safety getting to school or Troy Road, that's a hazardous road. At least as an elected official, you are saying to your town residents, we know this is not safe. We know it needs some improvements. And, we worked with the county to prepare an application to submit for some federal money to study it before we do something about it. So it is a positive step. I mean, if the grant's been filed, it's like, that is a concrete thing that has happened.
It's
So-
true, but I can tell you there was so much publicity about the town of Niskuna submitting the grant that the actual committee that reviews the grant was confused and thought that the town had already gotten money, and you should have seen the state's face. Like, I had to apologize to everyone for the coverage, say, I know we don't have the grant yet. It's a tentative balance. I think the county could 100% tell you whether or not they submitted for the grant, but I think that they always like to keep it kind of still until they know they're getting the money.
Yeah.
Well, with the data though, it seems like they can't ignore it, like the fatalities and everything like it.
It's true. I mean, the timing of the Route 7 grant application, it was just very, I think within a month of us submitting the grant, there was a fatality on the exact intersection that we submitted a grant for. Like,
We have been in communication with the county for at least a year about the dangers of this road. And so, yeah, Route 7 County Fair. So they're aware that folks in Niskuna are concerned about safety on the road. And so they said, well, let's get started on it.
Just to be clear, the county would 100% support us if we got the Route 7 grant, and we would 100% support the county if they got their grant, but they are competing with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But actually, if people are asking for priorities, at this juncture, we'd probably say Route 7 is a higher priority than the traffic circle on River Road, right?
Like, it's
would you-
years.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Yes.
you have to say that. So, I mean, if the people awarding grants were like, well, you know, you've applied for 2 or 3, do you have some thoughts? I mean, you may not get them all. I mean, you want to let us know which one is higher in your mind on where you get the money. Easy answers. Okay, well, let's at least find out if they have definitely applied and if the county would. And then, you know, people don't have to print it, but even if they get it as an email attachment, they could.
I'm just saying, I think it's important to recognize that if you find out the county has applied for the grant, which I think they did, then I don't think they're interested in broadcasting it until they get the money.
How about, I mean, if you have a copy of it, it's not inappropriate to say, well, Complete Streets is interested and they wouldn't mind reading through to see what's there. I could at least give the Complete Streets Committee a copy for them to read it.
Yeah, I don't have a copy of their grant. No, I have a copy of an idea. that they-
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, even if there's an idea, Carla's sort of saying, hey, what was in it? Or
So Bill, I
could
would.
you share that with us? Even if it's-
No, because I need to
Okay.
keep a working relationship with the county.
Okay.
And I don't know what they're willing to share with the public or not.
Okay.
And so I think that if you call and you say, hey, did you submit this grant application? They can tell you yes or no.
Okay.
But I think that in order to keep facilitating the communication, I don't know.
Well,
Like,
how about if we take
ask them.
that 1/10 of a loaf? Can we just get a call? Did you send the application in? That would be helpful if they would tell us that.
I can ask them.
Okay, okay. Carla, that's the best I can do today. Ask them if they submitted.
I think you initiated.
Okay. Oh, I kind of thought, didn't you say, well, what's in the 4.2 million grant?
No, the $4.2 million grant is for Route 7.
Yeah.
Route 7 only.
Yeah.
That is the grant that was submitted by the town
Right.
of Niskayuna.
I thought I was asking what was in that? What did we ask? So maybe it's just.
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah.
Okay. We have 3 on the list here, a sidewalk on Knott Street from Baker to Lex. I mean, that we've managed to work out that,
I did talk to the county about that in my last conversation with them though, and it is being pushed off until next year. They are working with the city on a joint bid of the information, and the city can't put it together this year. So they're gonna put it in their budget for next year and then roll the whole thing out next year.
okay. Okay, well,
But it doesn't mean that we shouldn't email them and be like, how's it going? How's it going?
well, if it's progress, I'm more than happy to send them an email or a note saying, well, we thank you for what you've indicated is your plan to address this, and we're 100% behind it, and we're glad it's people, engineering staff in both the city and the county are working together on this, and they're going to work on a plan to do it. So be very positive about that. Okay, 3B on here, request to Schenectady for bike lanes on Grand Boulevard. And that is part of a, I guess, a grant that the city got to do. This is Grand Boulevard, the pavement preservation and bicycle improvement project.
Yeah, so I talked to the county about this project. I mentioned to them that we had discussed it multiple times and done a recommendation from the Complete Streets Committee to just have a bike lane, not the share rows and the parking. And they did some internal communication after I let them know that we were very, concerned about the direction that they were taking on this project. And the last I talked to them, they weren't going to modify their submittals and they were going to still submit it as parking lane and a share row in the main road. So we do have a meeting scheduled with the Schenectady County manager. I did mention to the Schenectady County engineering that this is something that we want to talk to the county manager on. He said that he was well aware. And I guess, in discussions with Bill and Carla prior to this meeting, like my recommendation as a planner is that never to stripe parking on Grand Boulevard, regardless of what bicycle treatment that they submit. I don't think that encouraging parking on there is actually, like, would probably be good for that neighborhood generally. Like, I think there's some parking there that's kind of done on the down low and it's not hurting anybody, but striping a parking lane and encouraging cars to be parking up and down that street for the entire corridor, I think could, even change the look of that corridor. So I think that, we could either ask for a bike lane and just start trying to build our own support for it and talk to the county manager about, waiting on their project until we've got that support for it, or we could say, no, don't stripe the parking, just put a Sharrow in that road and then work with them on a multi-use path that goes along the side where the sidewalk could be.
Multi-use path would be great if there's room. I mean, just looking at this, if you widen that sidewalk in just this section here, you might run into a tree. Like how wide was the?
Yeah, so a multi-use path has to be, I think, a minimum of 8 feet wide
Okay.
because it accommodates to traffic both directions. You could do a wide asphalt sidewalk on both sides. And it couldn't be called a multi-use path, but as Jim has explained to us multiple times, it is not illegal in New York to bike. So if it looks like a bike path and it's only 4 feet wide, it's still okay.
Can we use them for a 5-foot concrete sidewalk?
You could. I actually think that bikes are less likely to bike on the concrete paneled sidewalk than an asphalt road.
I was doing that on Route 7. And it was very uncomfortable on my road bike.
On the concrete.
On the concrete.
Yeah.
It's not pleasant. But I do that over going on the road, but I mean, kids' bikes are not as delicate, but I mean, I definitely think they should have a bike lane. So your recommendation, or our recommendation as a complete streets committee was to put a right-hand bike lane or
Yeah.
a left, because the left-hand bike lane with a buffer, and even like those, they're not willing to put in those bollards or like the word.
I mean, so I do have frustration with the county over this one because we weren't even invited to their public outreach, like didn't even let us know that it was happening. So Bill managed to make it because
Yeah,
he
Jim
heard
maybe.
about it, and Jim managed to make it because they heard about it like a couple of days before the meeting, but I was not able to make it. And my staff person Linda went for me to make it because I mean we had like 0 heads up. So as to what was originally planned, like Bill's reported on it multiple times, and they're definitely looking at multiple options. But the option that they're engineering right now, this moment, is a striped parking lane and then Sharrows in the driving lane.
Because the kids are not be safe in Sharrows on that. It's a pretty fast moving road.
Yeah, and so I mean, to me, that's almost worse than the existing condition because the existing condition, although parking is allowed, it's not really encouraged. So there's not that many cars that park along that road. But I don't know if the idea is if you paint a line on the road for parking, if that's supposed to be narrowing the drive lane. But it's very different than painting a bike lane, painting a parking lane on the right hand side. Lane. And it's very contrary to everything we're trying to do in the town of Muscuna with our street. So,
Well, also, I mean, the other option, arts option, if you had like a travel lane and then the parking and then a little buffer, like just even 4 foot with no curb, basically the parking, the straight parking would be a buffer in a sense. And if you and there might be people parking there, but not many people do park there. So I don't, that could be a good option. It's just there's not a lot of room for it.
Would that be a hazard for parkers that are parked in kind of a middle lane in the road? I mean, getting in and out of their cars, especially if it's narrow, so you open your car and then the traffic is right there. I mean, now
so
the traffic's got a wide lane to go on.
what they submit has to meet federal highway standards. So they're not going to be able to submit a half parking lane, even if that's what working is,
Okay, so
that's Schenectady County money. So they can't do the halfway option.
What is it? What is half parking? Is that like?
Well, there is no such thing as half parking.
So travel lane, then, well,
You put like so
about, I mean, once you do the parking over here and you do the travel here, there's not enough room on that road to do all three of the things.
Jim said if it was 10. 7.5 and then, like you could do a 2-foot buffer and 4-foot if you don't put curbing in, and I think it comes out to 25.
I think Jim said you could have a bike lane and a parking lane and it would fit. I don't think you can do a buffered bike lane. Yeah. Cause I think the pavement is,
Oh, yeah,
Although
so if
the
you put
pavement
the,
is tricky here too, because you have like on the, I was working it the other day, on the right side, you have sort of like a drain. I don't know if it's from just wear and tear, but it kind of has a, is that not a swale, but
a wing gutter.
Yeah.
A wing curve.
yeah,
Yeah.
it goes along. So if you just had a bike lane like right up against there, that's not gonna work if they need that when they repave it. But on the other side of the road, it was nice and flat.
see, right now, I actually think that the residents have gotten accustomed, they can't park on Grand Boulevard. It's not like you have to retrain the residents. They have driveways that go around to the backyard, so you can have a car through there or use the driveway. And so really, I mean, we've had in our goals a recommendation of a concrete sidewalk on Grand Boulevard, on both sides of Grand Boulevard. Yeah, and so the bike lane, we'd want the travel lane, and there are trucks and cars. That's a county road. It's a collector road.
But excuse me, expressed what we thought to the county, right? So there's no new action.
Well, no, that's not the case.
Except recommendation. We may be able to push back harder, and because I mean, it is a county road, they can do what they want without the town's permission. But one of the things they said to me is, you know, maybe they can come back and revisit this later.
Okay.
But once you put a parking strip there,
Yeah.
revisiting it is 100 million times harder.
Then you got the residents solidly behind. We want those parking spaces out there. You'll never blast them out of that. So now you're in a situation where generally, if you drive the road really from Van Antwerp all the way down to, you know, the city line or whatever, there are 1 or 2 cars parked on there. And so those people would,
I mean, my recommendation is to get a meeting with the county manager in a week. I guess. Yes. So we can express our concerns with the way that the engineering is moving forward to them.
Good.
But I mean, one of the things that is powerful is people power. I mean, we can wait to that meeting to see, but either we can, I mean, my recommendation would be when we're talking to the county that we say under no circumstances should you designate a parking lane along Grand Boulevard. Like,
Yeah.
that's so contrary to everything that was submitted under the grant. If you have to do something, then just put a Shero on it.
Yeah.
And then that's something that we might be able to still fix in the future. But once they delineate a parking lane on that road, it's like then it's
Oh,
so hard to
I agree. I
reverse.
just, instead of just talking about it, I was just wondering what we ought to be doing about it.
Yeah, and so then the question would be, if they're still giving us a hard time, is really start asking people on Grand Boulevard, did you give your opinion? Do you want a bike lane? If you want a bike lane, you've got to start calling the county, because the county is going to be giving you a parking lane, not a bike lane.
Yeah.
well, as part of that, I see it as the residents on Grand Boulevard may want parking. They may say, we don't need a bike lane right here. We like the parking because in some sense, if you live over on Grand Boulevard, you get, the road is improved with new paving. You get a new travel lane. You've got the grassy median there, and then you get a parking lane. That's great. We don't have to hunt around. We can park in front of our house. And it's in the goals right here that the county or that the town supports a concrete sidewalk on both sides of Grand Boulevard. We're going to get everything we want. Ultimately, a concrete sidewalk, parking lane where I can park my car right in front of my house, a travel lane and a newly paved road. And I'm not worried about bikers that may bike through the neighborhood, but we're trying to promote safe biking throughout the town. And so part of the accommodation is, and it's like people that live on Rosendale Road or that live there now is that, well, there's going to be a little difference for you if we get the right of way. And so,
I'm worried about, I want to do a demonstration project. So
okay, well,
There's
I'm just saying, I
no-
think we should dig in on this. In other words, they're used to living now without having that parking there. And who knows, they may say, Bill, you can park in front of your house. Why can't I park in front of mine?
Quick question. They put parking on one side and then like a two-way bikeway with a nice buffer and like bollards or something in between on the other side or something, just like.
Like, as a complete streets committee, why do we want parking on Granville? Or why would we ever recommend that? Do we know?
I mean, complete streets means like everybody using the streets, so.
But I mean,
And one
but the
thing-
houses on Green Boulevard have driveways that come out.
Yeah.
And they're relatively large parcels, so you can enlarge their driveways to fit 4 or 5 cars.
Mhm.
Do we need to accommodate any additional?
No, I agree with
At the loss of a bike path.
Yeah, I agree. It would help more people to have a bike path.
But when you narrow the width of the road, it's narrowing the visual corridor. It will slow cars down and
Parking on the road.
parking bike paths,
Yeah.
either one, if they're well delineated bike paths.
See, I think by the time you have a travel lane there and parking over here, it's gonna be dangerous for bicyclists riding on the road with the cars because you're
Yeah.
moving the bicyclists. There's not a separation. The bicycles get moved closer to the traffic and it be safe. I mean, you wouldn't let your kids ride them.
If we brought a formal letter from the committee, I mean, we already did a formal vote, so I could actually just make a letter. I didn't think about it, but I could,
Okay,
based on the vote that we did a
Yeah.
couple meetings ago.
yeah, I make a motion to submit a letter that we don't want parking lane, we just want a bike lane and sidewalks.
Would like to have a bike lane and a narrow parking lane rather than no bike lane. So that's the point that you.
I think we actually made
Yeah.
a motion at the earlier even meetings than that. Did we?
April meetings, yeah, so go, if they want to support the travel lane, bike lane, narrow parking.
Yeah, it
lane.
was. I'll find it.
Well, I've got it right here, April 22nd. Well, Ms. Ely asked if they can respond to the county, let them know complete streets would like to have a bike lane, narrow parking lane rather than no bike lane.
Yeah, no, you guys actually took a vote. It wasn't the last meeting. You took a vote on your recommendation to Schenectady County. You wanted to
Right,
speak.
that was just the rebuttal we came back with,
Okay.
Bill, but initially we said just bike lane.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, good.
I'll make that.
Thank you, Laura.
Okay, so do you have to leave? When do you have to leave by 10?
I can stay to the end of the meeting,
Okay.
but I just had a few questions and where there's no more meetings before.
Yeah, I know,
Let's forget the
June
project.
15.
Let's move on to the demonstration. I want to come back to the goals, but we can do the demonstration project next.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, I have a set of questions connected with. There's a-
Yeah,
there's a good email.
That's what I wanted to discussion, anything. Laura, for estimating in the past, I was gonna ask stewards maybe to have the ice cream just for 2 of the 3 hours. So if it was serving for 2 hours, how many people should I ask it for?
So we have been having a hard time getting publicity for our events. Like, we had way less people at Arbor Day for the email blast. Because they're not reaching the
That's
normal
something I was
number of
wondering
people.
about too. What-
Yeah,
what
so
happened?
I probably would expect slightly less people than we've had before. Normally we have like maybe 200 or 300 people, right?
Uh-huh,
I would think maybe like 150.
okay. What happened that the emails changed?
When we migrated to our new
Oh, not everyone signed up for it?
website, yeah, it didn't migrate over our formal email blast. And then the secretary to the town supervisor literally spent like days going through the old list and the new list, emailing people to sign up because if they didn't get migrated. But the other thing is when you sign up, like you sign up and then you get another email and then you have to like verify that you signed up. And it apparently seems to be confusing a lot of people
Yeah,
because we still don't have the number of people we had signed up before.
I think I might be one of them because I did that process, but I don't think I got an Arbor Day email.
Yeah. And the other thing is they seem to be going to people's spam, which I
Okay.
never did before either.
Okay.
So check your spam, or you didn't enroll twice because you like had to enroll twice.
Okay.
And like it's very weird. Some people even enroll twice but only get text messages. Some people get emails, but they go to their spam. I sometimes get the emails.
Okay. Yeah, I was wondering about that because, okay.
I think it's a real problem. Aaron that works for Jamie has just, been trying so hard to get all the people on the list, but it just is so complicated. She's even looking at other servers or other ways to get the emails out, but we're not going to have them by June 15th. So,
Right.
well, I think, we'll have to plan on Facebook, drawing in the most people.
Okay.
And
On the town's Facebook.
and flyers, like putting flyers around town. But I would,
So can we get in the packets in elementary and middle school, like those packets that go home to parents on a bit so that
I don't know if they still do that. Like I was gonna send a flyer to the elementary schools, but I don't know what they'll do with them anymore.
they don't send them home to the kids anymore. I think they put them digitally on the PTO news, and you get the email and you have to scroll.
Oh, yeah.
And then they have all the flyers at the bottom, and you can scroll through all the flyers that are attached. And
We have
there's
to be
usually like 4 or
Pretty
5 of them.
diligent, yeah.
we could at least, if we have a general flyer, we could at least give it to the schools and that's put it in the packet.
Is this the route?
Well, you asked me to, and I'm sorry it's taking me so long. I should have done it right after the last meeting, but, and I kind of see two, if we have some police officers, some other people, if we have some young folks leaving town hall, that we would go, just down to Orchard Park, make a left, go up to Mohawk Trail, ride that down, you get to Comanche Trail, you make a right, and you just come back on the bike path right here. So it's maybe like half a mile.
Yeah, I think that's a good trail for little guys.
That's for little guys.
Okay.
Then, we have the weightlifter bike, high school bike club, muscle guys that, this is too tame, but we
Yeah.
have really kind of a nice route that you go all the way Windsor Drive down. We have the push button crosswalk at the Farmer Kelt's property, where you go over to Blatnick Park.
Anyone-
Yes, that way. And then once you get over, and we'd have, a staff member there just to make sure people, could stand in front of the crosswalk, or it would be a training to cross the crosswalk, but whoever's leading it would say, we have to make sure that the cars on River Road have come to a stop before we go across, but that's part of the training and using it. Then they'd be in the bike path and they would ride along Blatnick Park, come up the hill, go around the research circle top, and then all the way back down, and then you get to St. Joseph's Drive. There's a new crosswalk there, push button crosswalk. Push the button, cross that, and then you'd come back down a little bit on St. Joseph's on Orchard Park, and then back to Town Hall. So it's a loop. And hopefully, it may be not enough time now to paint Cheryl's on Orchard Park. I guess we talked about doing it. We probably still could. The nighttime Cheryl painters,
Well,
led by me. No.
I wonder if you should pick a schedule where you leave, maybe we do this twice or 3 times.
Right, that's
maybe
what I was
twice.
thinking too.
Where we put together a schedule. So if you want to do the big loop, you gather at town hall at what are our times again?
10 to 1.
10 to 1. So
Oh,
you
yeah,
could
we
go
could be
through-
area. I don't know. You use 11, 12, or I don't know.
or 10:30, 11:30,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
12:30.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that.
And then the other ones can leave. No, I think we should schedule the little guys too.
15 minutes or something.
Because if you're, it probably no, it probably doesn't take you half an hour to do that loop, but maybe close. The little guys could go at like, yeah, 10:15, 10:45, 11:15, 11, or I don't know, something like that. Maybe only once an hour for the little loop too. I don't know.
Well, it depends. You said that the bike cops were gonna read.
Yeah, they said
right?
they can.
Okay,
Yeah.
are we on their schedule for that date and time?
No, I have to do that.
Okay, but now that we have them, the specific times
Yeah.
laid out, we could do that. Thank you, Laura.
Something like this, or would Clark or somebody be able to do it? I don't know, a little meter or something like that? the
Yeah, we
big trail,
can. Yeah.
Something like, is this okay with you, Tess, on this
It is,
historic?
yeah.
Okay.
So they go like 4 times.
Yeah, that'd be good.
There.
That'd be good.
Starting at 10:15.
No, 10:45. I'm just worried if it's 10:15.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we could, the little loop could be 10:45, 11:15, 11:45, 12:15, and then the police officer could be done. Or we could do 12:40. No, because that's pretty close to the end.
I just want to get all the times for the flyer. So 10:45, 11:15, 11:45, and 12:30.
12:15.
12:15.
And then the big loop can be 10:30, 11:30, 12:30.
Okay, got that.
And then we can have like, we'll have like a launch point where they can like, line up somewhere.
Good. Where will the bike rodeo be here? Like what part of the parking lot?
So, we have to leave we have to leave the front, like handicap parking spaces up to the end for early voting. But then the rest of the parking lot can be ours, and then people could park at the library or the high school maybe.
Okay.
We're gonna have maybe a repair station, but so you're saying the first row of spaces in the big parking lot would be for voters, and then the rest of the lot would be for the
Yeah.
bike.
Along, solar panels or something, and just
Yep.
leave the big part open if we
Yeah,
want
yeah,
to
yeah.
use some on-site parking.
Oh, you mean by the solar panels will be the voters, or we just? Vote, yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, to the
Okay.
to like 3 or 4, because I don't expect the maximum amount of voters.
Yeah.
So really, it's just making sure the handicap parking spaces are reserved for the voters, plus there's like 3 other parking spots. over
So things within the right might be a CDTA bus, might be a bike repair station, if there's a bike shop to be.
That would, I mean, I can ask a bike shop, but last time we did it, I was gonna ask Laura, is there any money for, like, last time the town gave some money and we bought like a bunch of tubes and a couple of chains to have at the bike repair clinic.
How much did that cost you?
Like $50, probably more, like, it'd be like 75 now to have an equivalent amount.
Seems like it'd be fine. And then the bike company does that. I
Yeah.
mean, your
The mountain bike.
mountain bike company does
Yeah.
everything.
Because I
Didn't we
mean,
have planes come or something? They have a stand, you put it on. Oh, it was on, yeah.
Recently.
Okay.
last time it was just the bike club.
Oh,
I
okay.
mean,
Okay, so then,
Plains doesn't exist locally
yeah.
anymore.
So it would be a formal bike store or something. It would just be a club that would know how to do some basic tune-ups on the
Yes,
bike. Yeah.
That's what it
It'd be
was
good.
last time. But like a lot of people just have a flat tire, so they need a new bike too. So then it's a lot to say, donate your time and like provide, supplies to fix things.
Do you need tubes or a couple sizes? that
Yeah,
you
my
know?
husband knew like the most common sizes. And so he just bought, I don't know, like 3 of each, of one of, maybe there were just 2 or 3. So it wasn't that.
So you think $75 or $100 or?
Yeah, something like it wasn't too much money the last time, but like there has been significant inflation. So I'm just trying to,
Maybe 100 to be safe.
yeah.
Okay.
And I need to ask, it's hard because my own family might not be there because my husband and daughter are planning a little trip, but I'll be there. Hopefully we can get some other people, but I think I'll ask Freeman's Bridge too, to see if they would want to.
Well, we can use this one.
Well, If not,
You're doing.
I found this on the floor.
Wait,
Bill.
that's right, but we
Take
can,
it, take it, take it.
Yeah, but what,
yeah, let's ask.
Get some
then we'll
up.
ask-
We'll
let's-
spend it on something else.
no, it's-
Pizza. So that's.
Oh,
well,
well,
David,
Trish-
you can buy pizza.
is gonna ask Uncle Rico's. This is good. You hold it and so.
I don't want your husband going into his pocket to buy interviews, because he's a nice guy. He probably would do the same thing. And so you just said it already. Well, it's not fair to donate time and then have to go in your pocket for peanuts. Okay. All right, okay. Oh, well, I will now, but I sold every soda and every water at Nicetas. Yeah, we had a banner day. Well, we can work on it. Yeah, we should get some. water.
Okay.
So are we gonna do Sharrows? Or are we gonna not fret about that on our shoot?
Cheryl.
Okay. Then, ride leaders, we have to contact the police, right,
Yeah.
to make sure they're coming?
If
And
we
have
gotta
you
do-
contacted the high school bike club to make sure they're gonna come?
To do that now. This will be a good week to do it. I was in Peru for 2 weeks since the last meeting, so it's been a busy month. I did, yeah, it was really incredible. I loved it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I think the flyer is kind of a priority. We
Yeah,
have
do
to
the flyer.
decide on, we're gonna give away helmets, have a bike repair station, pizza, bus.
See you, Bill.
He just has a meeting in Hudson Valley today,
Okay,
but he is, at the house.
I'll ask him about the bus.
He was also gonna see if his company could donate helmets.
Okay,
He said that Planning for Places might be able to donate helmets.
Yeah, we had a list of places we were gonna ask, but it was Metroplex. I mean, David Hogenkamp is the executive director. I think it's possible that this would, entertain a request.
Yeah.
And, Martin Harding, Market 32, CRTC, Capital Region Transportation Council, go up. I mean,
it's Trish, so she,
She had a funeral that she had to leave for today, but yeah, I can have her work on that tomorrow.
okay, good.
and that would be bike helmets. We're asking those.
Yeah. I think the bike helmet giveaway does bring people. And then can the mountain club draw the rodeo and the,
Yeah, I could ask for help with that, but I also hope like maybe some people, like Jim's always really good at helping with that.
oh, has he done that? Drawing the rodeo?
Yeah, he is. I mean, we could make one up too, like, but
It's usually like they just have the little, thing
Right.
with the cones and everything.
yeah, that's why I just wanted to make sure I had an idea of where it would be. I mean, I would prefer it to be completely out of any path of traffic. That's why I was trying to picture like, where it would be back here. So it would have that space.
Well, we could, I could pull up the map that we had from when we did it. It was the first one. Was that the first?
Yeah, we actually had a little obstacle course. for
Yeah,
young
it's
bikers to
like-
ride on.
You know how town hall has like the parking that faces the sidewalk, then there's like intermittent parking that it just faces each other. And then there's the parking that faces the solar panel.
Yeah.
They did it in the big section where the parking just faces each other. They just
Okay.
drew the lines over top of it.
If we did the obstacle course, we can go get the posts
Yeah.
and have, and we can get the tires. And we'll just make it, so we don't have to paint anything, we just set it up, a pitch light around it.
So there, some lines would still be good
Yeah.
too.
But I thought Ray Smith was not keen on having, it's painted.
Can we have enough chalk or should we buy some?
I think we could buy the chalk.
Okay. And
But
will you two both be here that day?
Yeah.
Okay, okay, good.
I think we should ask all the complete streets.
Oh, sure. I mean,
And volunteers, too.
yeah. Okay, good.
So, Hubby Debbie, assisting you on this day, he was such a resource in the like rodeo.
He might be out of town with my daughter on a bike trip, so, yeah, it's just one of the time.
Okay, we're fine.
Well, I just thought if he was thinking about staying home to watch baseball or the Mets,
Oh, no, if he
they
was
need
in-
to come and help us out, but,
If he was in town, you would definitely.
you know,
Surgery that I don't have, things, so I don't know. I have two different ones, 2 weeks apart.
June 15, right? Okay.
Okay, great.
I just gotta check that.
Okay,
I
thank you.
think Trish can definitely work, and I checked that already. I can work, and then sometimes I can get my building inspector because he loves.
That's right.
You can ask Clark or remind him that, Jeff Twitty was out there, Okay, you say, Clark, you may not have noticed.
Shame him.
This is in the fine print of your contract, you know, like,
The student representative, Leanne,
Oh, yeah, he could get it in.
but I don't have he's not in the emails. Do you-
Oh,
Just on like the email for today, I didn't,
James, yeah.
because I'll contact him.
I'll send you an email.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, just don't read it out loud.
Okay,
So we haven't seen much of, I mean,
great.
maybe they're, James is, but, oh, yeah, actually, where would we get them? I mean, can we get them quick? I mean, even if we don't have all the money, or should we find out? Are we gonna try for 100, get donations for 100 helmets? I mean, are they $5 a piece or something?
Yeah.
Cause we've used a CRTC grant for buying helmets before. And I think we bought like 100, so and it was like. 400.
That should be easy to do. I mean, I bet Metroplex would help us for 100 helmets and some of these other people. would do
But you're
it.
right, like placing, having.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We almost need to know how many we're gonna give away. I mean, did we give away 100 last time or something?
If it's smaller, I think maybe we only need like 50.
we actually didn't give them all away the first time and they carried over into the second. We didn't order as many.
Let's see if we can order 100 helmets. If we don't give them this way, we'll save them and we'll have them for next year. So let's shoot for 100. Would that work? And we'll try to get donations.
Let me look and see how many we bought last time.
Okay.
Cause they'll tell me, cause I'm just guessing that.
Well, if you just estimated only like 150 people for ice cream, as you said, less people will probably come.
I know, but it's like 150 total. So you probably don't need 100 helmets.
That's
because-
right.
Most people have their own helmet.
I mean, with that amount of people, if we get that amount of people, you probably only need 30 or 40 helmets.
I agree.
Do you order kids helmets or adult helmets or?
So we say
I think-
50 then? We'll try to get donations for 50 helmets?
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Does that make sense to you, Ben? 50 or 50 helmets? Okay, good.
Ben, will you be available that day?
June 15, yeah, I'm available.
Okay, great.
And you already have somebody that's gonna recruit pizza or?
Trish said she was gonna ask Uncle
Restaurant?
Rico's.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I've been working so hard on the comprehensive plan that like I feel bad.
Squeeze every drop of blood out of members of the streets committee, so.
I mean, probably like if your eyes are okay, like the thing that would be most helpful is like setting up the morning of, like if we're gonna, if we do chop the churros and set up the bike ride, like there's always.
Yeah,
a
if
lot
we,
to-
and like,
So Officer, what's his name, one of the police officers retired a couple of years ago? He likes leading the young kids around.
but we bicycle policemen.
Okay, good, yeah. So chief, just notify him of this event and invite.
I mean, he like bikes his, boot. Like when he's patrolling, he patrols on a bike. It's pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah.
And they've come to the farmer's market.
Like the bicycle policemen have, yeah.
Mhm.
There's one that does it like all the time, but there might be multiple of them.
I wonder if we should ask our claimant, is he the bike club, is there a Schenectady bike club guy or something like that?
Like following the policeman.
Oh, yeah, no,
We
to
will
do that.
totally like
I'm
yeah.
just saying, if we need a volunteer to be at the crosswalk across from at Blackneck Park and Kelts or another one at St. Joseph's, we
Well,
want to go. We want to volunteer. Okay,
scheduled times, we
okay.
could have a complete streets person sort of just be like right at the front of the line
Well-
to make sure that the crossing's going.
Yes, yes.
Versus someone staying there the whole time.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, because otherwise we're just gonna be waiting for
That is necessary.
an I would love to do that, but I have, I probably can't make it up and down those hills multiple times. So we're gonna need somebody who's a little bit more fit than me to do the big league. I can help with it.
So are you good at doing flyers or do you need someone to help you with that to put the flyer together?
I can do the flyer.
Okay, good. So I think we should get as much information as we can, the answers on da, 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 and then the flyer, and then get the flyer out soon because time's going by. We're May 20 now, and if it's June 15, so we gotta. And if we are gonna give away a few by comments, if we're gonna put it on the flyer, then we gotta get the money together to.
Seems feasible, like, I'm confident that we could get at least 30 or 40 helmets. So I think I can put it on the flyer and have the flyer go out before we actually get the helmets.
Oh, yeah, we have-
I'm just worried about I don't know, sometimes there's a back order of something like that, like that they're available, they'll ship and be here in time.
Yeah, I'll look into that right away.
Okay.
Yeah. Because it would help if we're asking for donations to how much it's gonna cost anyway, so I can look into that right away.
Okay, thank you, Laura.
Triplex does that. I don't mind
Well,
asking
we can
them,
find out. They might.
Yeah. but I mean, I need a number to tell them, so I'll figure that out.
Okay. Good. I think that was all my questions.
So,
And I'll run the.
so the other thing we'll have to do is email, even though the email blast doesn't work super good, is as soon as you have the flyer, we'll email blast it, which automatically puts it up on Facebook.
Oh, okay.
Then the
Good.
People
I was
who do
wondering about
get the town email will get it, and then once it's on Facebook, it didn't, I mean, it still didn't work that great, and I hardly ever go on Facebook, but I was even privately sharing Arbor Day on Facebook, hoping that some of my friends, which I have very few, would see it. And then like post it, so like, once it's on Facebook, you can share it too. Right, next door neighbor app or whatever, however we can get out there. The email blast does not work as good as it used to.
Okay. Good to know.
But we do get more people. Well, the seedlings bring people for Arbor Day, but free helmets definitely bring people.
Well,
And if we are able to swing pizza definitely brings people.
what about, when we have the farmer's market, there have the police road sign that says farmer's market Saturday morning. Can we put that up?
Too? Yeah, we can try to do that too.
Should you? would
That
you-
just depends. If they have water main breaks and stuff, they have to use it. It's
Okay.
secondary. But if nothing's happening, then then
Yeah,
they'll
it
just bring it
should
over.
be- it goes up just a few days before.
Yeah.
Is there a purpose to do that then?
No, I'm just saying like, there's a precedent that it advertises it and
June 15. Good.
I'll double check that. I mean, I'm not sure that farmers market starts until school's out though. Is it?
I feel like it starts a little bit later. But, but
I'll
it's good
ask
to
if
check.
that would be good to know. I didn't even think about it.
Well, when we initially set it up, Trish checked the calendar.
So maybe there isn't one
Yeah,
yet.
church.
It just interfered with with the. Okay. I'll just triple check.
Okay, thank you. But yeah, everybody who lives in this community goes through that intersection at some point, like, so we see it that way.
Oh, you mean put it on the Balltown Road intersection?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, I just had it out here at the Notch Street intersection forever.
but they put the farmer's market one up all.
Yeah, I could ask them. I don't know if they'll let me do that.
But the whole point of them letting you do the farmer's
It's not me.
Well, I mean, just say like we do it for the farmer's market, why not for this one?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll ask. But I didn't even ask for that for Arbor Day. For Arbor Day, I just put it right here. This is the easiest place for them to put it.
Okay.
It's right out front of town hall.
Yeah,
But yeah, not that many people. I mean, everybody who's dropping their kids off at high school drives by. But
yeah. I mean, if I don't want to be pushy
no,
about
I don't
it.
mind asking. I didn't even think about the intersection of Balltown Road. I have seen it there.
Yeah, that's what that's where they put the farmer's market thing,
I'm
so.
not even sure how they, I'm not even sure how they do that actually. But I will ask them.
Okay, cool. All right, we can talk about other things now. Thanks, Phil. I just, I'm like,
No, I was just thinking that too. We don't have another meeting.
Right.
So we're gonna have to do, like, everybody make sure they're checking their emails and then we'll get Ted going and.
I have a few typo corrections on the town goals. Do we want to move this to our next meeting and really clean it up and then send it to people and say we'd like to adopt at our June 17 meeting, and here's all the things?
Well, do people like the reorganization? Because we could adopt them with, with them in.
Okay, I can quickly, on the first one, if we're looking at the goals, at 8 traffic fatalities in the last 4 year and 2 months, I'd like to change that to 10 traffic fatalities in the last 4 year and 5 months. So the 8 goes to 10 and the 2 goes to 5. Then on submit grant applications, application of 2024, I'd like to move that to 2024-2025. Then on number 6A, school speed zone for Craig, that should have a G on it, Craig Elementary. And on the A part of it.
Oh, 4.
Oh, you got Craig, or somebody fixed it? Or does it have a G? Maybe I have an old one.
I did, change the number.
Oh,
but I didn't
okay, one minute.
fix it.
So establish a school speed zone. Do we have speed on the bottom of 6A?
Oh, I think it's because I indented them.
Speed zone, 6A. Then 7, I believe we've asked for sidewalks, not curbing. That should say sidewalks. So the 7 says install new sidewalks on both sides of the entry instead of curbing. Oh, actually, and B, this sentence reads, many Craig Elementary School students, I'm on 6B, I'm sorry, attend after-school programs at the JCC, comma, there is an overlap in staff. And the JCC is a in place site for the school. Yeah, let's just strike that. We should just, and the JCC, so let's strike that. I mean, I thought this was the one that came out in the minutes, but maybe I'm wrong.
It's different. Okay.
Okay, sidewalks then. On number 9, it's a small thing. Should the post office be capitalized since we capitalized the town library, town hall? That, and then in number 11 would strike the A, would useful as a recreation. So that's all I had. So those corrections. So tell me that.
So those are basically just,
Yeah, with the typographical
Yeah, typographical.
recommendations, the one on Grand Boulevard is sidewalks and not curbing, so that's kind of a big one, but so on 7,
because everybody else did it. Did everybody else get a chance to look at them?
The goal is,
Yeah.
the use of the utility corridors for additional bike and pedestrian access. Are we still, that's still a short-term goal? Because that's,
no, it's well,
The long-term goal.
I mean, these are priorities, so
Yeah.
would you really include that? Because it is so, if you look at the terrain for that.
I guess if
and
it goes off the list, then it's never
Forget about it.
rehabilitated, but
Yeah.
forget about it. But,
Yeah.
I mean, some of these I think are short-term in the sense that we want to try to get this done this year. Some of them are, well, we don't want to forget about it and stop thinking about it. So it's still a priority, so that we still try to keep pushing it a little bit, I guess. If there's, I'm happy to defer to your judgment. I'm just afraid if we take it off, it goes off for keeps. But I don't know. Either way, if you want to take it off, you can make a recommendation on that.
to me, it just seems, just looking at the terrain, the steepness of the slopes, all the overgrowth.
Oh, yeah,
vegetation.
these are, I think we don't want to get bike paths on it right now. The next step that we're asking for is just, can we,
Access.
yeah, just access is the
So
step
people
of,
access it.
well, yeah, but it'd be better if it was, we want to violate and then ask for forgiveness. It'd be better to say, let's ask the power authority, would you be okay letting people ride their bikes on it? And
I think Catherine put in the first one calls for that.
yeah,
We got an answer,
but there are some communities like East Greenbush where they have it. So those are,
with
well,
the Empire State Trail, which.
yeah, I mean, I think we should keep trying. I mean, we should keep talking to communities that have got it done so that we figure out, well, what did you do? What did you ask and how'd you get it? So, as a matter of fact, if we get some more horsepower on the committee, if we get 3 or 4 new members, then this can be one of them might like this job. So
Did you have a chance to look at them, Ben?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Did you have a chance to look at the goals?
I haven't had a chance to check them out like this last draft, no.
Do you think we should? So there's the one benefit of adopting them is that then when we go to talk to Rory, we can say our adopted
Yeah.
goals have a painted bike lane on Grand Boulevard.
yeah.
Sorry.
But it's up to you because we only have 4 members.
We need all 4 yeses to approve the minute, I mean, the goals today, so.
I mean, I've been reading them today. I mean, I'd be happy to vote on it.
Okay.
In that case, I move we adopt the 2024 goals as distributed by planner Laura Robertson with the typographical edits that we discussed in last minutes. So second from Cassili. And all in favor, hands up. Unanimous. Okay.
With the project, does it have a name? Like, what should we call it? 'Cause even Stewart's is asking, like, what's the name of your event?
It's a bike rodeo. It's just gonna bike rodeo.
It's more than that, though. It's like Niskuna, like
Is it a training event? Is
Bike
it?
Appreciation Day, Biking Awareness Day.
Yeah, biking awareness day. It's, yeah. What do we think?
Biking awareness day.
Biking Awareness Celebration.
We have some training aspects, but I like bike awareness day.
I do like when we put rodeo in. Let's see, because we did the Dexter event was called the Dexter Dash.
Right, that's
We
why.
were gonna do the Grand Boulevard had a different name too when we were gonna do it on
It was
Grand
called
Boulevard.
Biking Along the Boulevard.
Oh yeah, it was biking along the boulevard.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like our orchard. I mean, both both loops use Orchard Park Drive.
Yeah,
But we have
Then
new push
it's,
button crosswalks. I mean, I don't know
well,
exactly.
it's part of the, like, the awareness
Yeah,
of
we're gonna
it.
see it.
Yeah. I mean, and the rodeo supposed to, like, the rodeo will have like some places where you stop and stuff, like, so it's also part of awareness, even though it's fun.
Yeah, I know. I like having rodeo in the title because it makes it sound more family friendly.
Okay.
But that's just me.
No, that's why I'm asking, like, cause yeah.
Bike awareness day. I mean, can we do that?
We did like rodeo and ride. The town hall bike rodeo and ride or something. Oh,
Okay,
you
Thank
picked
you.
us.
all right. Well, I just wanted to, it's good. I just wanted to make sure that I was on the same page as you
We
guys.
completely trust whatever title you want to use.
Well, I'm gonna send you the flyer
Yeah,
first.
yeah.
Before I send it out to anyone.
Yeah,
Okay.
maybe brainstorm when you're making the flyer what fits.
Okay. Very good. Thank you.
Well, we're actually kind of behind,
Yeah.
so let's see here. Speed bumps on Birchwood will have to wait. We discussed priority letters meeting. I would just like to maybe spend one quick minute. We're gonna, I mean, some things that we want to talk to our county manager, Rory Blumen. I certainly have, Grand Boulevard. We want to talk about that. Van Antwerp Road, we want to mention that we have residents interested in a side path on Van Antwerp Road. Rosendale Road, it's on our priorities, number 7, and we're definitely want to keep that a priority because, all 7th and 8th grade going there. And, then I have the Old River Road and Rosendale Road intersection. I mean, I think they are going to redo that intersection. I think they're going to do traffic lights.
No,
But-
they're doing a traffic circle there.
Are they? Well, in that case, one of the things I wanted to ask for is just the asphalt side path from Niskuna Drive down to the train station.
We should definitely ask that
So
because,
we want to ask for that.
because remember when they're doing the traffic circle, they're pushing all of the, pedestrians and bicycles to Niskuna Drive. So we should say as mitigation for that, they should put the side path and the crosswalk to line start.
Okay. Then I have crosswalk on Regent and Dean.
That's on the student drive.
Which one is the one that goes between the 7 and line start?
It's Niskuna Drive.
It's very scary.
It is.
No.
Niskuna Road.
Oh, it's Niskuna Road. Okay.
But once you get people on Route 7, I know they don't like riding the sidewalk, but they'd probably rather ride their bikes on the sidewalk on Troy Road. I mean, you ride it along like this
Yeah,
north.
okay.
Other priorities that I had here was crosswalk on Region and Dean. I know the county's like, well, we want to see how they work out. It's mentioned, it's a mention.
Okay.
And then I have just kind of a discussion item that we want to have a conversation with Rory about, well, hey, what's the general plan for getting sidewalks on the county roads? I mean, we have 18 county roads. We have 23 miles of county roads. They're collector roads that are used by cars, and we just want.
You-
Yeah. Your group meeting Complete Streets Committee
Whoever's
or?
going to meet with it.
Okay.
Are you coming to that? I can't remember.
May 30, what is it? 10 a.m.?
be-
I cannot make it that
Oh,
day.
that's right. It's during the
Yeah.
day.
But I would like I'm going, but would like a couple of members of Complete Streets to come, and the county said yes, so if Jim or Carla or Tess, anybody else? I think it's a Thursday. Okay, so certainly Carla and, Peter Knutson, Jim, Paul
Sheldon will be there.
Sheldon.
Yeah.
And Rory Flumen. And it's our opportunity. I mean, we also are going to talk about our goals. So we want to give him a copy of we can send him the goals so that he sees if there's any county things. And then I can type these up a little more and we can send them to Rory so he knows some items we want to talk about. I guess it'd just be review of the goals, but,
Yeah, okay.
so Carla wants to come and are you a maybe for that one, Tess, or not? Or it's a Thursday, 10 o'clock.
May 30th?
May 30th.
I don't know.
Okay.
What time did you say it?
I think it's 10 o'clock.
And where?
Be in town hall. You did send, is it Miss Middle? What was the name? Yeah, there it is.
Where is it?
It's just to talk about the goals.
No, it's to talk, Rory Flumen, we're gonna talk about the things I listed here, which I'll send out. It's Grand Boulevard, Van Antwerp Road, Rosendale Road, Old River Road, traffic circle down there, crosswalks at Regent Street and Dean, and just a kind of a longer term discussion about how we're gonna work with the county, like narrow right of ways. It would almost like people on Algonquin or,
You're 10 a.m.
yeah, 10 a.m.
Yeah.
And did you tell her it's town hall somewhere? Rory wants to know where to come.
Yeah, I can respond to her.
Okay, good. So we'll do that. And if there's something else,
Are you gonna send out?
yeah.
What's in the conflict too, but
Yeah.
it's
If
just
there,
all roads, basically, just
Yeah, I mean, if there are specific things in the comp plan that we want, we should look at that. And I mean, obviously, meeting maybe goes an hour or something. We don't want to drown Rory, but I mean, I don't know. He may be, well, what are your top priorities for this? And can't do it all. We're going to give him the goals, and so he'll know what we're thinking down here, and what he can help us on. And we're going to start by giving him a big thank you. And we should put that on the list too. That the Knott Street.
Yeah, agreed.
That could be first on the list to say, Rory. Well, we do want to thank him for the push button crosswalk at St. Joseph, saying we want to thank him. Well, okay. Well, anyway, we'll want to thank him for Knott Street. It's been 20 years that we've been trying to get work, so it was positive.
So we have to- that we should-
Okay. Is a move, is there a second to adjourn for the day out in the house? Of course, I'm good to go. We'll order sandwiches, but move by Tess, second by Carla. All in favor of adjourning for the day? Okay, we've got four adjourned. So we went 15 minutes over there. Thank you, Ben, for joining us. And I'm sorry we've had such a conflict with work, we're kind of jamming you, but I appreciate that you make every effort to catch up with us and join the meetings.
Yeah, sorry it's been so touch and go lately.
Okay, we'll see you soon.
All right, thank you so much. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.
They need